What happened in my life? I used to be popular. Now fucking not. Well, I'm still pretty popular.
He's looking at himself in the mirror and pointing at himself, saying, "I'm worth it. I'm special." And dang it, people like me. Space. The final frontier. These are the destiny of a few chosen space zombie type Jesus people fighting an intangible devil type person with bugs and robots and what are those guys? They kind of look like gerbils. Gerbils. Gerbils on Mars.
What is going on? Alright. I'm Anton Mac. I guess my gamer handle is OMG It's Anton. That's OMGITSANTON. That also counts for my socials, so feel free to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram.
Again, with that, this is Joe Inferno, which is probably that's where this is going to be uploaded to. And welcome to our retrospective / podcast / just shooting the shit of Destiny 1.
Yeah, we have a video playing in the background. It's from Joe's, I guess, endless files of his time in Destiny 1. We are a
Oh, look at that sexy man holding that flag. Damn right.
Stupid. I don't even know which one's me. That's how old this is. So everyone that you saw there was actually in our clan, Ninja with Attitude, because we couldn't get ninjas. So at this point, my bullshit theory is that we are just the embodiment of a single ninja, like Voltron.
At least Anton knew what Voltron was. Anyone who's seen my previous videos knows that Grim has no idea who or what Voltron is. But go on, sorry.
Rest in peace, Grim.
Yeah.
And yeah, apparently we are just hopping into the Crucible, but it's pretty good because it's nice to look over this old footage, especially with the fact that, Destiny 2 has been out for, I think like a month and a half now? Two?
Has it only been a month?
It hasn't been that long.
And everyone's already like wow. Like, what's the word I'm looking for? Walled? What do you call that? They've been stalled. They're stuck. The
rut,
lack of they're in a rut.
Yeah, well, there's like a severe lack of content, which is why I guess Joe kind of was like, hey, let's talk about Destiny 1 and 2 and shit.
Don't get me wrong, Destiny 1 had its fault though.
Of course.
It wasn't perfect. But, I mean, Crucible I thought was a lot more fun in Destiny 1. Although in Destiny, okay, we're not talking about Destiny 2, but just quickly Destiny 2. I feel like I'm getting more kills in Destiny 2 than I did in Destiny 1. But that's probably because they made it super easy, which makes Destiny 1's Crucible, I personally think, a lot more skill-based. Like, look at that shit. I didn't kill him. Anton literally killed him. I shot him in the leg, and Anton finished him off. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, but...
Maybe you suck.
And guest appearance by Liz James. You could check her out online by Annika. Or Anika, as some people like to call her.
Do you remember when Casper's friend was trying to say her name? And she's like...
Was that Casper's friend?
That was Casper's He's just like, how did he say it? Was it Annika?
No, I can't remember. He said it like five different fucking times.
Like, it's not that, it's this. He's like, well, you spelt it like this. And she's like, well, that's because I couldn't get the name. Great moments.
Well, yeah, so I guess, yeah, we're just doing kind of like our thoughts, you know.
But yes, I did suck at Crucible. But anyways.
Yeah, but I guess since we're on the topic of Crucible in general, like, what do you like from Destiny 2 Crucible? Because there's not much that I really like about it, even though I'm still a god in it. But oh, nice charge.
Right.
Oh, and you just got shit on.
I totally did. But so in terms of Destiny 2, I do feel like, for some reason, Clash is a lot easier than Control. We're playing Control here. Usually Control was the game I'm like, at least I can get a point from getting the spot. Like, you know what I mean? But in Destiny 2, Clash I seem to be doing way better in.
Yeah, sorry, that mic is falling for some reason.
It's okay. I might sound... Sorry. Anyways. But the thing are we talking about what we like or just don't like or just in general?
Well, like, I don't know, just cover the bases, like Destiny 2, Destiny 1, whatever the fuck, like.
Okay, so in terms of Destiny 1, I don't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure you were able to choose the mode, right? In
yeah,
Crucible?
you were. Destiny Destiny 2 just has like a basic playlist. You have the non-competitive and competitive, but either way, you can't choose your game type, so you can end up in control, you can end up in what's that other one?
I hate salvage, by the way. Salvage is the stupidest thing ever.
And then
that's the one with crest, right? You pick up the stupid crest.
Oh yeah, that's basically
fuck that.
yeah, that's fucking. For those who don't know, that's basically kill confirmed, where you kill somebody and you have to go pick up their emblem or whatever the fuck after.
And you don't get the point. Well, I mean, they're gonna change it later, but you don't get a point unless you pick up the crest.
Yeah, and that game type seems to be coming up a lot more often than basically any others. Like you said, Clash does feel a lot better in Destiny 2 compared to every other one. But I think my main issue with it all is the fact that it's 4v4 now.
Yeah, I could see that. It was a lot more chaotic and fun when you had like 6 going on 6.
Yeah.
And also notice there's no rumble, right?
Yeah, not from what I've seen. They're probably added in, but at this point, there's no rumble. I didn't even check. I've played a shit ton of Destiny 2, but I didn't even check. But can you do private matches?
No, not currently, I think.
Once again, one thing that Destiny players were clamoring about in Destiny 1 was just being able to go, Red Bull, going into a match with friends and just fucking each other up or just doing whatever, but you can't in this time around.
Well, I mean, well, to be fair, they didn't have that in Destiny 1 till like, what expansion was that? The Iron Lords one, or maybe the one before that, even the Prison of Elders? It wasn't a thing. I just remember towards the
King, like TTK.
Yeah. So like, I think like got added on later on, but that's something like you'd think would be like an automatic.
Yeah. Well, it's just now it's kind of like veering off of the whole like Crucible topic, but just in Destiny in general, it feels like TTK was kind of the pinnacle of what Destiny should have been right off the bat. Like that should have been our vanilla game. Our ability to like infuse into weapons, create more, having a shit ton of stuff to do, blah blah blah. And then when Destiny 2 came out, it feels like they really took like 5 steps back and decided to rework a bunch of things that, really made the game. Oh, you suck.
Hey, I shoulder charged that guy right to the wall. By the way, they changed that too. See that shoulder charge where one hit the guy? It doesn't do that anymore. Imagine my surprise as I'm playing PvP and I go up and shoulder charge and he's still standing there in front of me. I'm like, oh, bam, right in the face, and I die. But anyways.
Yeah, you touched upon something that I do want to talk about later, but I won't talk about it now. So it's kind of just stick with like Crucible.
Okay.
Yeah, like.
Also, I don't seem to like. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but I felt like there was a lot more variation on maps, or is it like limited because of the game type we're playing in Destiny 2?
So I haven't actually done any research onto that, if let's say specific, like
we haven't done any research, let's be honest.
But my assumption is that within specific game types, certain maps show up, right? Like how it was before when you would have in Destiny 1, when you would have the game type with vehicles, you would only see like the moon map, you'd only see one of the other ones, blah blah blah. But it doesn't seem like there's massive variations in the game types. Like they're just kind of like, oh, this one you have to capture flags and kill enemies, or the other ones you got to kill enemies and pick up medals. Either way, it's revolved around killing enemies and not adding another, I guess, type of like a gameplay type, like adding vehicles, something of the sort.
Yeah.
So for the most part, I don't think there's really a big difference in maps. I just think that there's just a small selection of it all. Oh, get shit on.
Oh man, and here comes Anton to save the day.
Oh, champion. Champion, thank you, number 1.
Liz is the second top killer in this map. Is that what did I just see that? Did I see that right?
Oh,
when I die again, we'll look at it again.
Well, we'll see at the very end that Anton is number 1.
Nobody cares about that.
What do you mean nobody cares?
All about the rest
I know,
of the
because
team.
everyone already knows that Anton is the greatest. Look at me, blade dancing.
I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna get this. Oh, you killed him before I got to him. You son of a
Okay,
bitch.
first off, I'm gonna put this out there. You charged at a guy who was floating. Like, that was your own fault.
Oh.
But yeah, like the one thing that looking at this footage and just kind of talking about it with you is that.
Oh, you got shut down. Way to go, Chief. Way to go, Chief. Emo Cag.
At least I had the opportunity to be shut down. Get shit on. But, oh yeah, see, number one. by
I'm
a
third,
lot.
baby.
By a lot. I'm just gonna put this out there. 7,000 points. What are you guys at? Liz is at like 29,000, and you shoulder charge into a fucking lamp. Like,
Oh, sorry. Go on.
Well,
Finish your thought.
but yeah, looking at all this footage, it really reminds me of how fun Destiny 1 PvP was, and just in general how fun the game was. I feel in Destiny 2, it just
It's definitely watered down, I think, to make it more accessible for people. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. That you'll have to be your own judge for that. I personally, like I said, Clash is a lot easier for me to actually, like, you know, knock people around, which is, at one point I got a 4 point whatever kill death ratio, and I was like, how the hell does that happen? I suck at this.
like I guess I kind of understand, because then you don't.
Yep, here comes the end. Blade Dance by Caspar.
Yeah, like you don't get instances like this where it's just a whole entire shit show, right? It's super chaotic. There's people running around. It seems like they've kind of, I guess, made it more team based. You know what I mean? And we're just throwing on another video right now.
This is gonna be really short. This is the first time you get the sword when you're on the, what is this? The Cosmodrome. And then I just decided to just go ham on this fucking thing around. Did nothing. Absolutely nothing. Unless that damage on top was me, but I don't think so.
But yeah, I think it's just because Bungie decided they wanted more of like team-based tactics versus.
No, I get that. I totally get that, but at the same time, like, at what cost?
Well, okay, let's look at other games that have come out recently that are super, like, you know, team oriented. You got games like
but just before we go, this is my favorite part, because watch what happens when I get these fools. This is what I'm talking. Moments like this in the first game. Boom, boom, boom. Wait. And boom. Murdered him.
Yeah, let's look at games that have come out recently. There's games like Overwatch, there's games like Battlefield, all these games that are super team based, and I guess to a certain extent are like competitive within the esports realm, right? And then
again, boom, 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 boom. This is all like highlight reels. Like, let me find one that's like longer. Give me
yeah. But it feels like Bungie's really trying to push this towards kind of like the whole esports thing, but the problem is they're trying to appease two different.
Oh, by the way, spoilers if you haven't beaten the first Destiny game, this is the last level.
No. It's been like 4 years. Like, if you haven't beaten it by now, then fuck you. I like how you spent a lot of time trying to kill that fucking.
Hey, I never pretended to say I was the best at this game, but look, I'm gonna clutch save Shanks here, and then I'm gonna run to the end and not get killed. As I think one of those big dudes called Minotaurs comes and like starts stomping him. But go on.
Yeah, it feels like they're trying to appease too many crowds. They're trying to appease the competitive crowd, which is why we have like these, I guess, PvP functions like trials and competitive air quotation, even though there's no actual ranking system in the game.
Okay, but on that note, why bother having light levels, or what are they called now? Power levels?
Well, it's basically light levels.
Whatever, let's just call it light levels.
Yeah.
If those specific like competitive modes in Destiny 2, it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, but so I was never a fan of having light levels affect your ability to play in competitive PvP matches, right? So before, when it was like trials, Iron Banner, all of that business, if I wasn't at light level, I in turn would do less damage and take more damage. I despise that, because in turn, you know, your skill only matters so much versus a guy who's, you know, spent fucking 20 hours in a single day to get to where he's at, versus me, who can only really put in a few hours every night to make sure I can get my gear, right? I'm glad that they're just like, fuck it, we don't need any more power levels affecting how, you know, PvP runs out, right? My issue is that they can't decide what crowd they really want to cater to. Because at the end of the day, it's that old saying of, if you try to appease everyone, you're going to appease no one. And that kind of feels like the mantra of Destiny 2. Like, you have this game that is so based around a lot of good formulas. You have like the MMO side where you go raiding with your friends, you get raid drops, you get specific loot, and then you build your armor and all of that, your weapons, blah blah blah, whatever. And then fuck, now I totally forgot the point.
You were saying like they're trying to please everyone.
Oh yeah, and then you got the first person shooter side of things, where once again, you're in these instances where for some reason you're hiding behind this. But like, yeah,
Because I have 4 bullets left. What did you want me to do? Throw my gun at him?
Go pick
How
up.
was it supposed to work?
Pick up ammo. But I'm just saying, like, now it's more skill based than just a basic MMO. Like, I'm not saying MMOs aren't skillful, but once again, this is now Twitch reactions. This is like you need to be good at aiming at specific things, right?
Not me there.
So you have like this whole entire mesh of good things from different games, but it's not really. It works, but it's not really working, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Because it falls short in many ways.
It's probably like more short-term gains than anything.
Yeah.
Because then you end up alienating one group or maybe both groups, and then eventually they realize, oh, this is not really made specifically for me. Why am I wasting my time doing this?
Yeah, and my thing is, they want this to be accessible to a larger crowd, right? Bungie's really big on not being exclusive, but rather inclusive, right? But you know, your main populace that wants to play the game wants to put in the time, wants to have these special quests that they can unlock like an MMO, and then follow these massive fucking, like, you know, quest lines to get this specific
we're gonna
weapon.
get into that too soon. But
Yeah, but like, and then what else? You know, you have all these raids, you know, and these raids you complete with friends and to get like a potential drop and blah blah blah. And obviously we'll dive in more into the drops, because the drops are another big gripe of mine in Destiny 2. But then
really, I feel like Destiny 1 was slightly worse on that regard.
I'm just gonna touch on it right
Okay.
now, and then we could dive more into it later or now, whatever you wanna. But my thing is, as much as it sucked trying to get drops in Destiny 1, at least I got drops in the middle of a raid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I see where you're going with this. Okay.
Because that's how it is. Like in Destiny 1, even in like World of Warcraft, blah blah blah, you face specific bosses to get specific drops. And if you don't get it, then okay, that sucks. I'm gonna just go in later and do it again, and then hopefully grind it out, right? But
Typical staple of an MMO.
yeah, but in Destiny 2, it's like, hey, we just spent 3 hours fighting this fucking boss, and then we get 5 tokens to give to some random dude, spoiler alert, sweeping, and you're just like, hey, here's my coins, give me something. And first, he doesn't even give it to you at level. Second, it's probably going to be a double of what you already have, because once again, he's pulling out of a pool of, you know, drops rather than pulling out of specific drops based on who you got the tokens from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's stupid, you know. It's leaving a lot of the drops up to RNG, when in reality, like, there should be some form of control, or at least presented control for the player, right? If I want a chest piece, a helmet, or an auto rifle, and that only comes out of the final boss of the raid, then I should know that I'm gonna get one of those pieces from killing the final boss of the raid. Not, you know, oh look, I got a fucking, this is the 5th time I've gotten the shitty boots. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just dumb.
Well, they are like, this is being done at the beginning of November, so who knows, maybe after this it'll be somewhat like looked into, but as of right now, that is the current situation. I feel like there's no real reason to do trials either, as you're bringing up, other than like that special vendor. But here's the thing. If you're in a clan, you don't necessarily even need to do trials to get the gear from trials, because as long as one person do you have to get flawless with one?
No, you just have to complete the card. So you actually got to get 7 wins. Doesn't matter if you get
Yeah.
3 losses in between.
So those in big clans get a huge like benefit to being in that clan, because you almost guaranteed someone's gonna get that, and then you get I got that what's that gun? The auto rifle from Trials.
Oh, the Persecutors.
Yeah, I got the Persecutor, and I didn't I was like, oh, I don't know what this gun is, but then it turned out to be really freaking awesome. Like, mind you, it came at level 5. I think they're fixing that, or they are.
Yeah, so that was a bug. It's
Okay.
supposed to drop kind of like a luminous engram. If you guys don't know what luminous engrams, or just listening in for shits and giggles, whatever, luminous engrams will give you gear based on your total light level. So if you can potentially hit light level of 300, that gear that you should be getting should be at around 300 or more. The problem with the trials, I guess, engrams, is that they weren't dropping at level.
By the way, look at that blue engram.
Oh boy.
Remember those?
Well, you still get them every once in a while.
But sorry, going on. So like, it can't. Yeah. So anyways, it should drop. Close to your level now, or it is fixed, right?
I don't know if it's been fixed, but once again, I haven't been. Problem. The main issue of all of this culmination of Destiny 2 and in turn Destiny 1 by proxy, is the fact that I'm not on anymore. Like if you look up time wasted on Destiny, it's an actual website. I don't know if you,
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, so go on Google if you play a lot of Destiny 2 and haven't heard of this. Head up Google, search up time wasted on Destiny, and the first link it'll ask you put in your gamer tag. So I put in my gamer tag, type it in. I have close to 2,000 hours wasted in Destiny 1.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'd say about 500 of that was alone from the first like few months kind of deal of Destiny 1. And in Destiny 2, I don't even think I've broken 100 yet. Game's already been out for a month and a half. And like, I guess that's a good thing because, I could be a responsible adult and do things with my life.
Nah, who needs to do any of that?
Exactly, we're fucking gamers. We like to waste time, you know?
That's
we
the
like
point
to
of games, right?
I like to play games and escape the real world. But no, Destiny 2 is telling me, hey, you don't need to play me anymore because you've already done everything. Which I have, which is sad. You know, I've gone...
Oh, look at that. Classic Destiny 1 cinematic.
Oh, for centuries we feared. Oh,
This is the speaker. We fought.
So what is he, like Ringo Starr? Like...
I don't know. He kind of sounds like that in Destiny 2. Okay, Okay. So are we done with the Crucible portion of this?
Fuck off with Crucible.
Okay.
Fuck Crucible.
So my question to you: what was the story, Destiny 1?
All right. You ready for this?
This is Anton's summary of what happened in Destiny 1.
Wait, let me get my Red Bull.
Here you go.
Yeah, just drink this bitch. Oh, and the Stranger.
No, that's what we're gonna get into. So
God.
we're gonna get your summary, and then we're gonna break it down. What worked, what didn't work, mostly
Okay.
what didn't work.
All right. Destiny 1.
Also, boobs on robots. Why?
Why not?
Go.
Is that really a fucking question? Why not? Hey, let me fix this because... Ow.
Oh.
Okay, so, pause. There you go. All right. We're back. All right. Editor's notes. You should probably cut out the next bit because you see all the peaks. That's just fucking us hitting up on the mic.
Oh.
Okay. Excuse me. All right, my summary of Destiny 1. All right. So some little ball thing that sounds like Peter Dinklage rolls up to you and goes, "Hey, you're alive now." And then you get up. And you're like, "Oh my god, why did I wake up amongst a bunch of abandoned cars?" And he's like, "Hey, here's a gun." So you get a gun, and then eventually you fight your way to this place called the Tower. And this tower is filled with other people like you. Even though you're legendary, there are other people just exactly like you for some reason. And then they're just like, "Hey, go get gear." And you go get gear, and then they're like, "By the way, there's these people called the Darkness. They're bad people. You should go kill them." And you're like, "Okay, I'll go kill them then." And you go try to kill the Darkness, but little do we know is the Darkness is unkillable. Is that it? I don't fucking know. Look, the Destiny storyline is so fucking convoluted, and like it doesn't make any fucking sense. That okay, editor.
And that's go.
Oh yeah, editor's notes. Joe just put on fucking Vault of Glass just so he knows which videos to put on.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's fun.
That's the point, isn't it? That is a convoluted tale. Now, when we go back to Bungie's previous works, we look at Halo. Yeah, that was convoluted. Yeah, they had outside lore adding into the main lore. But what was the main idea behind the main game then its own story? You're a super soldier, cybernetically enhanced superhuman, crash landing on a ring planet. There's some sort of zombie-type parasite, and you're trying to stop the planet from blasting a all-species annihilating kind of beam or whatever.
Yeah, but would you really say that Halo was convoluted? It was
No. I'm saying, in that sense, that was the story.
Yeah.
These are the same people that made that game.
Mhm.
How did they go like so crazy? Where like, why the hell am I alive? What the hell happened before I was alive? And we're going with the Darkness. Like, so on top of the darkness, you have these asshole 4-armed jackasses trying to kill you. You have robots with milk goo in the center, a milky goo center. How many bites does it take to get to the center of that? And then you have these space gerbils on a desert planet. Like, how does this all fit together? And then at the very end, that last video before this one, where we find the big blob in the middle with the robots, that's part of the darkness. But what is the darkness? At the end of how many expansions did he do in that one? It was 4, right? Fourth?
Dark Below, that other one, House of Wolves, Iron Lord thingies.
Whatever, 3 or 4.
3 or 4 or something like that.
3 or 4. Those had, like, okay, admittedly, the story got better in those, but they were contained stories. So the first expansion did not expand on what the darkness was. Second expansion did not expand on what the darkness was. Third expansion did not expand on what the, kind of. But not exactly. It was like a subset of the darkness, if we're thinking the Taken King as the third main expansion. But the whole idea being like, up to now, can you tell me, what the fuck is the darkness? Using Destiny 2 as well.
Charlie Murphy.
Right? Insert that here. Editor's note, insert that here, that clip. But that's my point. It's like we're already in the sequel of the game, and they've totally shelved the idea of what the darkness was, which, good on them to try and do something else, I guess. But at the same time, it left so many questions.
I will say, so once again, not defending whatsoever, because as much as I'm a big PvP kind of guy, I like my PvP content, I play Overwatch on a fucking daily basis, right, babe? She said yes. I like my PvP. At the same time, I'm a really big fan of story. Some of my favorite games are BioShock Infinite. DLC actually made me cry. I love games like Final Fantasy VII, blah blah blah.
And he loves the Resident Evil games.
Oh, fuck Resident Evil. But I will say they eventually kind of gave us a clue of, not even just a clue, but they gave us imagery of what the darkness is at the end of Destiny 2.
You don't know that's the darkness.
It's
hinted at, but it could be a red herring, and for all you know, that's just
but the
Space Osiris coming back for Egypt.
The Space Osiris.
They're triangles, man, and we're a circle planet.
I'm just saying,
it's triangle versus circle violence.
I'm just saying it would make sense because the concept art for the darkness ships is the exact same model. So at the end of the day, the sad thing is that we can't make that relation from just the game. We actually have to go to outward sources just to figure out, hey, you know what? Maybe that is the fucking darkness. But at least it's something at this point. It's better than what was Destiny 1, where it's just I
don't have time to explain what I don't have time to explain.
And can we talk about this stranger business?
I felt like that was there was no payoff on that one. You build up this character, Mysterious, been watching us since the beginning, when we got to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Came from the moon. And the payoff on Venus was that she just told us, you got to go to this place and do this. Bye.
So the sad thing about it is that, what is his name, Luke Smith?
Yeah.
He said that they feel as if they, air quotation, wrapped up the stranger storyline perfectly in Destiny 1.
Luke Smith is a little on the crazy side, I believe.
Yeah, so I don't know if he's, once again, just trying to red herring.
Mystery solved. Luke Smith is the darkness. You heard it here first.
I just said, I don't know if he's just trying to throw out the red herring at us and just be like, hey, it's all wrapped up, and then they bring him back. But here, let me find the actual quote on that, because that pissed me off the most. Alright, so here's the quote. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
We have a bunch of characters who are interesting, but the Exo Stranger is one that always makes me chuckle a little bit. Because I feel that's one character where we actually wrapped the arc. She gave you a sweet gun, then dissolved, presumably off to do something else. So I feel like of all of our characters we introduced and exited, we actually exited her effectively.
I think he is full of crap, because...
So this was off of, I guess, PC Gamer, when he did an interview with them. But it's stupid, because once again, you never mention who the fuck she was. like what her relation was with all of this, why she's trying to help us, and like we don't even know if in turn what she did actually affected the storyline.
He said originally timeline, and I'm like, you're assuming that she was doing something with timelines.
Oh,
and
it's not a suit.
Oh
it's
no,
not
no.
an
I understand the
assumption.
gun. I understand the gun says parts made like they don't exist yet.
You know what? I'm googling it right now. This is what you got. You brought this upon yourself.
See, only because now he has the time.
Exo Stranger time.
How do you know it's not an interdimensional traveler? Well, she has like a portal gun like Rick Sanchez. And he'd be like, you know, and maybe it is Rick Sanchez. Morty.
The Exo Stranger and time travel. Fuck you.
What was that, a fan site?
Fuck you.
Bungie Fan 101? No, you can't trust that shit. The internet.
It's the lore. It's the lore.
When has the internet ever told the truth?
9/11.
That's not
jet fuel can't melt steel beams.
Fake news.
But yeah, either way, it's just we don't know if what she did affected the timeline in turn. And at the end of the day,
quotes.
It's not air quotes. It's not air quotes. Look, you search it up and then you read the lore, and I'm gonna get a message at like 4 in the morning with your fucking spinfoil hat on, being like, yes, she was a time traveler, and I'll be like, fuck you, piece of shit. Either way, it's just stupid that she was just totally written out of the game. Because first off, Luke Smith, you know, you're a great person and all. I don't know what else you did prior to. I probably do. I just can't remember. But you know, the storyline wasn't wrapped up. We don't know anything about this person. And you're telling me that everything's cool? No, it's not. It's not fucking cool.
No, like I don't even think that follows the rules of like a story arc, you know, where it's like the hero's journey or whatever you could call that thing.
Yeah.
Or, you know, the blah 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 climax, resolution, whatever.
Yeah, the blah blah blah, the blah 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 climax, and then the blah blah blah.
But like yeah, I felt like so not uninspired, unfulfilled by that ending, and then they don't, like, even the speaker doesn't tell you like what like there's no way. What is this, like 300 years after the fact of when humanity collapsed?
I don't know.
Like in terms of the main storyline, quote unquote, like it doesn't give you enough to latch onto. Whereas like, you know what, with Halo, sorry to bring that up again, but Halo, it did. Like it finished its story arc, what it was aiming to do. Like it didn't really dive in too much into it, but like it gave you enough that you understood what was going on, who these things were, or whatever. Then in future games it expanded. Now, understandably, if that was what they were going for, in the next game they would expand it. They still haven't done it.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, there is still opportunity, right? Like we are expected, what, 3 more DLCs?
Yeah.
So we got Osiris coming up, what, like 4 weeks from now?
Something like
December 1st, something like that.
And who knows? Maybe that will touch on the Stranger, since, you know, she dealt with Vex, and we're dealing with Vex hopefully in this expansion.
Yeah. Well, because we're headed off to Mercury now,
which is also, if you didn't notice, that planet that the Almighty was devouring to blow up the sun, but you know.
Yeah, and then we finally get more information on Osiris, the rogue warlock, who apparently is just batshit crazy, but apparently a fucking like god at killing things. So I'm excited.
And as a Vulture cosplayer.
So like it's pretty cool, but like, I don't know, going back to just the whole entire conversation, I think the one thing that I've heard this said many times, and I totally agree with it, so it's not an original opinion, but once again, like, opinions in turn are just opinions of others that people use for themselves, let's be honest. But yeah, in Destiny 1, the main thing I miss about it the most is that you felt powerful in that game. I felt like I can do things in that game. Like
I felt like you could do things too.
But I mean, like I felt like an actual guardian, right? Like I felt like how in Destiny 2 you see how like Cade 6, fucking Ikora, how Shaxx what's the other dude's name?
Zavala.
That's it, Zavala. How like they felt powerful. They were characters who could use their abilities at will and then do whatever the fuck they want. Now I got a fucking 20-minute cooldown on a grenade. Are you fucking joking me?
Okay, agreed, but also disagreed, because in the first game they were just there.
Yeah, they were just there.
In terms of characterization, there was no character.
But I just mean in the kind of like that portrayal of the Guardians. Like they are the epitome of what Guardians are.
Should be, you're saying.
Yeah, should be.
Right.
Anyways, and then in Destiny 2, like, yeah, they portray them like that, but as characters, as players who are the legends of this story, like I feel weak. I feel shitty.
Okay.
You know, I can't fucking do anything. Whereas in Destiny 1, it's like, yeah, this comes down to a gameplay mechanic where it's like, okay, I got 30-second cooldown on my melee, I got a fucking, 40-second cooldown on my fucking grenade, and then if I'm good enough, I can have my super up within 30 seconds.
Okay.
This,
Fair enough.
This game is just like, hey, guess what? You can use one ability every 5 hours, have fun. Like, are you fucking joking me? And that's the problem with it all. I think now coming to realize it after talking about it out loud with you is that Destiny 2 just feels like a generic shooter with elements of Destiny 1.
So like a bootleg Destiny. Is what you're saying?
Well, like I don't know, man, because look at this game. Like out of all the gameplay that we've shown, you've fucking Fist of Havoc fucking a million times. How many times do you do that in the other game? Like, yeah, like your Fist of Havoc is now a Roman.
So this is
super.
going back to what you touched on earlier, right?
Yeah.
Like the abilities have changed. So like in my defense, like I when I got Striker, it was not like I was putting on an old pair of boots, as it were, like something I could just like I was so comfortable in before.
Mhm.
But now it's like it's something not completely different, but still different enough that it doesn't feel natural. Like my instinct in PvP or even enemies is to rush, and even PvP enemies will sometimes still be alive when I do a shoulder charge. And I'm just like, how the hell does that even happen? I like some of the changes to the defender class, like getting the Captain America shield. Come on, that's pretty awesome. And the shield.
But in
fast
turn,
shield
it's
charge.
not even a defender class
No,
anymore.
I know, that's the thing.
Like-
And you know how long it took me to figure out how to put the bubble up? Because I kept clicking and just doing the regular. I didn't realize you had to hold it down to get the bubble back.
Yeah.
And even then, you don't get to choose if it's weapons of light or weapons of light or armor of light. It's just straight. I don't think so, anyways.
No, it's just armor. That's
Armor
it.
light.
That's just armor. Yeah, it's stupid. But like, now this also comes down to, once again, just gameplay issues or just like mechanics or whatever. The skill trees. I'm really let down by the skill trees because before, like, yeah, it looked kind of weird looking at it initially, but once you really got into you died. Once you got into the game, and you built up enough fucking levels and unlocked the different, like, I guess, subsections, you were able to fully customize a guardian to your liking. So I was able to create a hunter who, first off, mobility would actually affect run speed, unlike Destiny 2. Mobility only affects walking speed. I can have my specific grenade. I can, have, let's say, I can have smoke grenades that turn me invisible while being able to run fast. Whereas in the new game, I'm stuck to two different trees, and I can't mix and match at all whatsoever. So no matter what, I'm playing a specific type of hunter. I'm always playing this specific type of hunter, whereas I've lost control of how I want to play the game. And
I know some people are gonna be like, but Anton, they have mods now that can affect that.
it's just dumb because, I preferred having, I guess, my abilities attached to specific, I guess, attributes. So if I build up that specific attribute, in turn my cooldown for that attribute or that ability, whatever, will be lower, because that's what I loved. I always love being able to, put on these sets of armor, blah blah blah, putting on fucking, I don't know, specific skills and whatever, and then my cooldowns will be really short because that's how I like to play, whereas other people prefer to have, certain things change how their abilities work. Like, instead of just punching, if you run, you get a shoulder charge or something of the sort, right? Like, that was the big thing about Destiny for me, is that as much as there is no story, it was kind of me unfolding my own story as a guardian, creating my own story, making fucking experiences with my friends.
Okay. So on that, I'll agree. Like, and I'll probably insert a couple of different clips of some of our. We'll probably go into that after the story section, but I will agree that you are building up. Like, the reason why this game was so great for people was the people, like, they did have a point where it's like the friends you make in the game, but at the same time, it's also like the different, like, missions and what happens in the missions where you're just like, holy shit, that was so fucking awesome. Like that multi-kill when I went around the corner in PvP and just murdered the whole team at once. That never happens. But when it happens, you remember it.
Yeah.
And sometimes you record it for posterity.
Like,
But it's that kind of idea, though. You know what I mean? I will say, though, one change I did like with the supers was making some of them running supers.
oh, like roaming supers.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. See, that was a smart move, and I do. What the fuck are you doing?
Oh, I was trying to revive Spade, but he was like glitched into the wall, and I couldn't get to
Oh.
him. So I'm like, "You're on your own, Spade." kind of.
Well, yeah, like I do like that change, but then I don't know
At
because
the expense of everything else, it does not that.
like it's cool, but so think about it like this. So you would use in Destiny 1, you would use a striker class to clear ads, whatever, fucking, or just do a shit ton of damage to a specific person, blah blah blah, and then you would move to, let's say, your Hammer of Soul, because that was your roaming class. That was your ability where you throw it down and then you're able to do whatever the fuck you want for the next like 10 seconds. Now, if you make every single class a roaming class, which in turn has happened with Destiny, except for the exceptions of, like, let's say, the Nova Bomb, the Gunslinger.
I hate the Nova Bomb.
Yeah.
But
Like, with the exception of those ones, you in turn are kind of removing utility from other classes. So now certain classes will be chosen not because of, let's say, the element that they're... Nice.
Oh, I saw that.
My fucking
I saw
God.
that. Oh.
Yeah, you're in turn choosing classes not based on, their element, but preferably their utility and who's more powerful. Like, yeah, in turn, a Hammer of Soul would probably be better for certain missions because of more solar shields, blah blah blah, but you may just use striker class more because striker class does one more damage, 2 comes with more fucking grenades, whatever it may be. You're no longer choosing classes based on the situation. You're choosing classes because it's just more powerful. Like, and that's where I really lose out in this game, because as a hunter, hunters used to be pretty fucking good. Like, hunters used to be awesome. You used to see them around all the time, and yes, you still do see them all the time in Destiny 2, but it's widely known that hunters in Destiny 2 just suck. Fucking Shadow Shot is a waste of time. There's no fucking point in using a Night Stalker anymore. And Night Stalker was my main class prior to Blade Dancer. Now everyone's using fucking Arc Strider because it just has significantly more utility at this point. It just kind of sucks, because before I used to be able to swap between classes because of the situation. If I was facing a boss that was farther away, more likely than not, I'm going to use my Golden Gun. If I run into a shit ton of ads, there's my Shadow Shot. If I just have to deal with a bunch of ads up close and personal, then here comes my Arc Blade. But now it's like, why would I choose anything other than Arc Strider at this point? There is no point. If anything, I will be hindering myself because of the fact. Which sucks. It's just stupid. This video, we've seen this video like 7 times, Joe.
I really should start
Naming things like... Oh my god.
10 minutes. Yeah, that's fine.
10 minutes, we don't even know what it is.
I think it's that PvP one, but we're gonna see the intro.
Oh boy, Bungie.
So pretty much story is where it's at. Powers have changed like that. In terms of loot drops, then.
Loot. Oh, loot is such a big thing, because obviously story, gameplay, mechanics, all of that is what initially draws people. But loot is what really keeps people around, because if there wasn't a reason for people to stay around, in this case being loot, then why would I continue playing a game that has nothing for me?
Another staple of an MMO is loot.
Yeah. So I will say, first off, not talking about the drops themselves, but the actual, or not the, like, I guess, frequency of drops, but rather the drops themselves. Like, I'm kind of in the point of, like, it's just lackluster. Exotics don't feel like exotics. That's my main thing about all this, because obviously if you pick up a legendary weapon, you're not going to expect it to fucking shoot fucking homing missiles from an assault rifle. But at the same time, if I pick up an exotic, let's say scout rifle, I'm gonna expect it to do something significantly different than its legendary variants, you know? So like look at that.
Even blue variants. There's some blue that
Yeah.
have the same exact perks as the exotics. of
Yeah,
the same
and that's a big issue. Like I will say some of the guns are pretty fucking cool. Like the what is it, the Wardcliffe coil? Yeah, the one that's basically like a ghetto fucking Galahorn. That's pretty cool because it's not just like, oh, Galahorn powerful. It's the fact that it can clear ads really quickly. You do have to get up close and personal if you want to do maximum damage to a boss, blah, blah, blah. There's Sweet Business, which is basically a
I love that gun, by the way.
Yeah,
With a barricade up. Oh.
Sweet Business is awesome because in turn it's just a fucking minigun. And it's great, but then every other exotic is trash. Look at that Void, the Void Pulse Rifle they give you during the storyline. That one's trash. I don't know if you picked it up. You get.
I hate pulse rifles. I probably destroyed it anyways.
Yeah. Sunshot's pretty good, but once again, it's just kind of like a slightly overpowered Firefly from the first game. You know, there's nothing that's really calling out, hey, this is an exotic. Look at the fucking the armor. The armor perks are so trash because half of them for each of the classes is just, hey, your cooldowns go down by maybe 2%. That's it.
Okay. Okay. In terms of stats, yeah, that's definitely what's happening. For me, what sucks about the armor and guns is, I guess, variation. This is something I wanted to bring up in Crucible, but I forgot to mention. Hands up here if all you see in Crucible is the Mida multi-tool. Because my hand's up, my hand's straight up, just so you know. Because like that's all I'm seeing, especially in trials or competitive. Mida multi-tool, and what's the other one? That combination gun with it.
Oh, Mida multi-tool and the Mida mini tool. Yeah.
That's all you see. And before, like, don't get me wrong, there was always the gun to have in Crucible, but now it just seems like everyone's a carbon copy of the max. Does like, you know, min-maxers? It's like the max way to play Crucible is with these sets of guns, these sets of perks, this like class.
See, the thing is though, it's like, so people like to compare like the multi-tool between the generations, right? And it's like, okay, I get it, like it sucks having to see the multi-tool, but there are other options out there, and in turn, depending on how you play, there are better options. It's just right now the base, I guess, setup is the multi-tool because it's easiest to pick up. And it's not even just that it's a good gun, it's the fact is the perk that comes with it makes it fucking amazing because you can see your radar while you aim down sights. Like,
makes me miss the Lord High Fixer, by the way, for the exact same thing.
But yeah,
my
like
gun,
as a hunter, I actually use the Future War Cult scout rifle, and then I use anything else in my primary slot because it gives me more utility than just being like, oh, okay, I'm gonna use the multi-tool over and over. Like, people complaining about it, I get it, it sucks, and being team shot by...
And by people, he means me.
Yeah, well, being team shot by a bunch of fucking multi-tools sucks, but at the same time, there's always ways around it, and it just means that you have to start changing your gameplay, changing how you play. Stop fucking running around corners expecting to play like Destiny 1. This isn't Destiny 1 anymore. You're gonna start thinking tactically versus just like, hey, I got a fist, I'm gonna shove it up your asshole.
Or like me, where I used to run up to tanks and try to punch them.
Yeah, it's just like, but I do get it. Like, it's been a big
It's
issue.
just, I would, with a game with such a quote unquote robust customization ability, is that a word? I don't know, it's a word now. I don't see that much variation in what armor looks like and what armor does. Like, literally there's two sets of pieces of like chest armor with the little frill.
Yeah.
The only difference between them is like literally the color, like the fucking base color it comes in.
Yeah.
I'm just like, why can't, like, what is up with that?
Yeah.
Where's the, like, I get it, new expansions will add some more armor sets and stuff, but like when this is the thing you're launching with and everybody looks like aesthetically like a carbon copy, that's a little bit troublesome. And don't even get me started with the shader system. And I know they're changing it, but Jesus Christ, that shader system.
So first, I will say, without touching into it much, shader system fucking sucks, man. Like, I fucking despise it. I prefer the old way where it's just like, hey, here's a shader, you gotta keep it fucking forever, and then you could add it to your collection, right? Because then in turn that was an extra side of loot that you can get adding it to being like pay to customize just sucks, you know. I fucking despise that. Like,
And like you're like, oh, why don't you just dismantle it? You know how long it takes to dismantle 64 of the same shader that's shitty?
yeah,
Like, there's no way to like just mass delete the whole thing.
Yeah, that was a fucking problem. But yeah, I totally agree with you, and it in turn was kind of a problem of Destiny 1, vanilla Destiny 1, because all the armor looked exactly the same. It was all carbon copies of each other, you know. The only variance was like, oh, if I got this from Future War Cult, I have a Future War Cult symbol on it, but other than that, it's exact same as Errant Knight, as fucking swords, whatever. It's just it sucks because, once again, on your point, it's a game based on customization and creating your own legend, yet I look like everyone else I play with. Like, what the fuck is that?
I'm surprised the speaker in Destiny 1 was just like, oh, hey, Anton. I'm not Anton. Anton's over there. Oh, well.
Yeah, it's stupid, and the only variances you get is through the exclusive gears, so the Trials gear, but the Trials gear is basically locked out to anyone who hates competitive or hates PvP in general, so that sucks for them. The raid gear, but once again, that also sucks for people who don't have friends to play with. I'm glad they did add the option to actually, be a seeker or be a Sherpa.
Yeah.
Like, that's great. That's fantastic. Gives you an option to actually try out the raid with people who are in your same position. But once again, it's still in beta, so it's still buggy. It doesn't work properly. Sometimes you're waiting for a good 45 minutes just to find something. Like, it's just...
On that note, I'm glad they made one big change in the original Destiny. Because before, the raid gear was the only way to push your level higher than what the base game had.
Mm-hmm.
And then they added the idea of infusion. See, that was also a problem with the whole looking alike like everybody else. Because the raid gear was the only way to level up, everybody had to wear the raid gear. Everybody had to wear the raid gear. Everybody had the same statistics almost, other than like the customizable like power trees that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
But then they added the infusion system, which lets you keep your armor. So that's why you'll notice I'm wearing this like I'm gonna say ghetto looking armor, because like that was like, I really don't want to keep wearing what everybody else is wearing. Like, I'm one of those people who's just like, I like this piece, I'm gonna keep this piece as long as I can. If they had let me kept infusing the Lord High Fixer, I'd still be using it, but no, but they didn't, so I had to use, like, don't get me wrong, I like this Cirrus auto rifle, but like, I miss that gun.
See, what I think they really fell short on in the last game was that they only started bringing back original armors like really late, like when they were finally just like, everyone wants to play Vault of Glass again, so yeah, let's put it at current light level, which was cool and everything, but I just felt like they should have done that as well, with that opening up the option to infuse old weapons into current light levels, which would have been fantastic, because then now you would have people walking around with Vault of Glass stuff, Crota stuff, Auric stuff, you would have variances because people would choose the armors they prefer.
Or my original Crucible gear that we did the Vault of Glass in, like, that was one of I earned that armor, and I was like so happy to get it, and then as soon as you hit Vault of Glass, that's the armor you had to wear.
Yeah, so what I'm thinking is that, oh wow.
Yeah, Hinata really Byakugun me.
Gay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like that they're setting up for the fact that things won't be light locked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You won't be stuck based on, based on DLC or when the raid came out, blah blah blah, because you have the option to infuse into basically everything, right? So that's pretty fucking awesome, because that means that I in turn can find a set that I really like, keep using it, and keep rolling with it. Because at this point, I think I'm one of the few people who are out there who is not using a full raid set, because I don't want to look like everyone else who's using the raid set.
Exactly.
And at the same time, I don't have a shit ton of friends who are playing PvP, because if I did, then I would have the full trial set, but even then the trial set looks stupid. So I don't know, man. It's just this whole customization thing is killing me. But like, moving on to drops themselves, Joe's putting a new video. He is killing things.
This for my own personal editing is when we start the what was it called, the works, this thing, the raid.
I don't know, just the dreadnought thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so drops. Drops are my biggest gripe in this game.
By the way, look who it is. It's Soul Animation Z.
Oh, rest in peace. Yeah, I really think that drops are my biggest issue at this point, because the last game finally started getting it right. The last game was like, you know what? We're adding strike specific
Oh, okay, yeah.
drops,
Loot. Yeah.
because then, you know, you would play these strikes more often, so all the hunters decided to fight Tanix over and over because they really wanted his cloak, so they could in turn yell out Tanix has no cloak, and, you know, stupid shit like that. But like, the cloak looked good, the gear that you would get was awesome, and it would fit with gear because in turn they would change color like everything else, right? So you would have people who would have similar pieces, similar sets, I would say, but then I would have my cloak, or someone else would have the different arms, blah blah blah, stuff like that. But now, when you do strikes, first off, strikes are fucking useless. It's so much better just to do public events rather than do a full strike. But the strikes don't have any specific drops from them, which is really fucking annoying. And in turn, you get coins to give to vendors so that they in turn can pick out of a pool of.
See, that I'm not a big fan of.
I fucking hate
like
that.
I get why. Okay, I get the token system, but if there was a way to choose out of their pool what you got, like, you know how long it took me to get the frill on my character. I don't know if it's in this video, but I have like a royal, like, regal frill. I don't think it's in this. I don't even think I recorded one, but anyways, where it's kind of like, it was like Shax's thing, where he has around, like, it looks like like one of those jackets with the,
like a Canada Goose jacket.
yeah. And it took me so long to earn the marks for it, and when I got it, I was like, yes, because I could actually select it from the vendor.
Yeah.
You know how disappointed I would be if I got all those things and I handed it in, and then I got like some shitty boot or something. I'd be like, what the fuck is that shit?
So at this point, I've done the raid close to, like, I'd say 10 times. 10 fucking different times.
One time. Twice.
I still don't have a full raid set, technically speaking. The only thing I'm missing is the boots. You know how many times I've handed in the coins to the vendor and have gotten the stupid fucking auto rifle? I've gotten the auto rifle close to 7 times. It's been really fucking annoying, and it just kind of boils down to the fact that there's no way to kind of, I guess, stack the odds in my favor to get the gear that I specifically want. And that's a big thing, you know? Once again, I fought Atheon so many fucking times just so I could get that stupid helmet, but I felt so good when it finally dropped, and I was like, alright, I did it, I have the helmet, this is how I'm gonna get the fucking helmet. But now it's like, hey, you beat the fucking biggest, baddest dude in the universe. Guess what? Here's a token. Go spend it. Like,
it's like Chuck E. Cheese in space.
Yeah, it's like,
I don't know if that's in America too or something, but Chuck E. Cheese is like it's like Five Nights at Freddy's, but like not. Well, it's still creepy, but but in reality,
it's just like I work my ass off to get, you know, to defeat these bosses, blah blah blah, and yeah, at the end of the day, it's the journey, not the destination. Shut the fuck up. Whoever says that is a fucking idiot. Like, at the end of the day, I play this game because, yeah, the journey's fun, meeting friends is great, having these stories to share and tell our fucking war stories to other fucking players is always fun. But at the end of the day, I want something at the end of it all. I want this sweet fucking piece of armor, and I shouldn't fucking have to stick a coin into a fucking coin slot and hopefully hit jackpot.
Kind of like a wishing well when you think about it. You throw these tokens in a wishing well and hope to get what you want.
Yeah, but the thing is, at least I get something from it. In a wishing well, you just throw your coins in, and then some hobo's gonna hop in and steal all of it and make $10. Like,
yeah, okay.
I'm just saying, like, it just fucking sucks. I shouldn't have to gamble in order to get gear that I don't want to say rightfully earned, because that just
But you
makes
put time in to get something. You want, like, an equivalent exchange, as it were.
Wow, you're a fucking nerd.
The fact that you knew what I was referencing indicates you're a nerd too.
Okay.
So let's continue.
Okay, see, but the best thing is our listeners. Oh, you killed yourself again. You should really stop using rocket launchers.
Hey, you know what? This is like the first time we were doing the Orcs raid, so it's
I'm just saying, our listeners don't know what I look like, which in turn means I'm still cool.
Anyways, but I agree. Like, there should be some. Hopefully they update that system, or because like, I do feel though they also were maybe trying to balance the fact that you get like engrams a lot, so they thought maybe they'll eventually get it. But I'm just speculating, because like I even got an exotic engram in Destiny 2, like when we weren't even finished the mission, like the whole storyline or whatever. But
yeah, what do you think about the whole, like, I guess, frequency of getting exotic engrams and legendary engrams?
on the one side, I'm glad it's dropping more regularly, but on the other side, the pool from which they're pulling is so small. Like, it's a common, everyone knows this part, this issue at this point, that you're getting a lot of duplicates.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's necessarily wrong with duplicates if you're like dismantling or infusing it into something else, I guess. But at the same time, it kind of like degrades the excitement of getting an exotic engram. You're like, oh, what am I gonna get? How many times I got fusion rifles? I never use fusion rifles, so I can't even infuse it in anything. Because, especially since, correct me if I'm wrong, in Destiny 1 you can infuse like any weapon into any weapon.
Yeah, you can infuse any weapon into any weapon as long as it's within the same, I think, like, group. So as long as it's primary, you can infuse the primary.
Yeah.
Like,
So like in this one though, it has to be legitimately the same thing. So if I want my sword to be upgraded, I needed another sword that was higher.
Yeah.
So I'm getting all these fusion rifles, completely useless to me. Completely useless.
Yeah.
So like that I'm not too happy about. Like the change in it, I guess they were. I don't know why they made that change. I felt that was a step backwards personally.
So for me, like, yeah, once again, same deal. I enjoy that I am frequently getting exotic drops. I'm getting legendary drops. Wow, everyone's just slaughtered. You guys suck.
That was great.
Um,
White tried to revive me, and then White died. That was great. And he did like a little spin too. If editor's note, try to get that clip and put that in slow motion as White turns around.
But yeah, I like the frequency of getting everything. My main issue is I don't know if a lot of other players agree with me. I haven't really searched up, but I actually miss the random rolls that will come on the weapons. Like,
yeah. I agree on that. That was
like,
that was
you
me.
remember,
Yeah.
remember that fucking like 3 hours we kept farming that one fucking Vex strike just so I could get the fake Fatebringer?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
as
Maga
much,
loop, right?
Yeah,
The Maga loop.
as much as I hated doing that, at the same time I enjoyed the thrill of eventually getting that drop and then running, looking at it and seeing if I got Outlaw and Firefly. Like, that's all I liked, and in turn that means that now you are a part of that exclusive group of people who actually managed to fucking get it. Yeah, some people got it from RNG, but a massive populace did not get it at all because, hey, guess what? It was an exclusive drop, came with specific roles. It gave me a reason to keep coming back and playing more, and that's what I want. I think the culmination of this whole entire, like, just video, podcast, whatever the fuck you want to call it, is that there's no reason for me to go back to Destiny 2.
No.
Yeah, there's no reason until the next DLC comes out, but knowing us, knowing about 90% of the player base, we're going to blitz through the content within the first few weeks and have nothing left to do.
Also a staple of a MMO.
Yeah, like,
You gotta like see, that was the replayability of strikes, and that they changed. That was a great change in the first Destiny. Was the fact that you got like the loot specific for the strike. Even the nightfalls, they made like people want to do them because of the, like, sometimes you might get like a side, well, not a side mission, but another way to solve or continue. You know what I'm talking, like the Black Spindle mission.
oh yeah, the black. Oh man.
See, like,
so...
when people found out, that was the most amazing idea. Like, here's a mission or a strike that you've done so long that's become a strike, a nightfall, and then they've added a change into it that if you go and take a side route, if you decide to go off the beaten path, that you might discover something or unlock a different way to end the mission and get a reward in this case.
Which, one thing is, they did it right in Destiny 1. They never capitalized on it. They never did any more variants. It was just the Black Spindle quest line. Because, okay, so if you guys don't know, I can't remember which strike it was. I think it was the Tannic strike?
No, it was a hive-based strike.
Yeah, either way, it was one of the strikes in Destiny 1. Like Joe said, there was a variance in it where if you actually went off the beaten path and followed this route, it would open up a secondary, I guess, a secondary objective rather than the main objective, which in turn will still finish the strike accordingly, but will end up with you getting something special. And it wasn't just something where it was just like, oh, you know, la-di-da, fucking jumping through daisies and flowers and bullshit. No, like this.
Oh no, it was the Titanic strike. It ended with him in that fucking room, and he was like a different variation of himself.
I don't. Yeah, you had the timer. You had a shit ton of enemies. You had to kill a bunch of blights. Like, it was a fucking sick strike. It was so sick. I don't know if I told you this story. It was Liz. It was you, me, and White that did it for Jeff, right?
Yeah.
So, in Canada, we have an EB Games, if you're listening from outside of Canada. So, I don't know if it's the same for GameStop, but managers in Canada at EB Games, the, you know, local game store, they once a year they get sent to managers conference where they learn about the new video games, you know, they get the like special treatment kind of deal. Well, my manager at the time was at managers conference. So, I told him, "Hey, the Black Spindle quest is live. You know, did you want to do it?" He goes, "Oh no, I'm at manager's conference, I can't do it. But Liz has my key for my house. Can you drive to my house, hop on, and do the quest line for me?" And at this point, Liz, myself, and White have done it, but it took us fucking forever. It took us like close to like 4 or 5 tries just to get it down right the first time. So I'm just like, I'm kind of worried. I'm like, fuck it, it's Jeff. He's a good friend of mine. I'll do it. I drive to his house, so I hop on his system. Liz is here at home, hops onto her system, and White, our friend down in LA, yo, what up, White, if you're listening to this, hops on his system in LA, and we fucking bust out the strike in like 1 try. I message Jeff, and I'm like, "Hey Jeff, guess what?" He's like, "I already know. I've been watching the Destiny app for the past hour." But like, it was moments like that that made me fucking love that game, where it's just, once again, a story I can fucking tell my friends about the time I went to my buddy's house just to do the quest line for him. Like, it's there's so many things, and at the same time, like, I'm not justifying it. Like, I guess we should probably do a wrap up, because we're at close to fucking an hour at this point.
Okay, so finish that thought,
Yeah.
and then we're gonna jump into something.
Yeah, so, like, I'm not justifying it to Bungie, because at the end of the day, Destiny 1 was not the game we all expected. We were expecting basically something that was like No Man's Sky, World of Warcraft, Call of Duty, like the best of each of the genres thrown together in something that created this addiction. And in turn, it still succeeded. It still created this addiction, but it wasn't what we wanted. At the end of the day, I'm not saying that was the point of all this, like, you know, just creating special stories for ourselves rather than actually having our own storyline. What I'm saying is that in turn, like, it was a game that got me captivated for over 2,000 hours. Like, you've played a shit ton of time too. Fucking Liz.
I did take a break when I found the joys of Skyrim, but that's a whole different thing.
Yeah. Well, and then Liz played a shit ton too, my girlfriend. Like, I have a group of friends from this game that, like, maybe in the next 5 years.
Oh, by the way, in this video, we just beat the first part of the raid.
Yeah, like, I have made a group of friends that are across North America that I will one day visit in the next 5 years. Once again, I'm not justifying it. I'm just saying, you know what? As much as it did not hit the expectations of what this game could have been, at the same time, you know, Bungie got my money's worth. Oh, I got my money's worth from them. At the end of it,
I was pretty satisfied overall. Although I will say, could we stop with the jumping puzzles, please?
No. Okay. So it's unfortunate that we actually don't have the video for it.
Well, actually, we might. This is one of them, no?
But Joe despises jumping puzzles with a passion, which is funny because if you know Joe, and you'll know a bit about him now, he loves Nintendo games.
I'm pretty cool with Nintendo games. Most of my channel has Nintendo-based stuff, but continue.
Yeah, but Joe hates jumping puzzles, and I don't understand why, because jumping puzzles are easy.
Okay, this is before I found out, like, mind you, this is at the Oryx raid point, where I didn't know you could stop your jump by pressing the jump button. It wasn't until Jeff, the one we mentioned before, was just like, you know, you can stop jumping by pressing X, right? And I felt so stupid. How many years I've been playing this game, and I didn't realize you could stop the jump with the jump button.
So bad. But I don't know. Anything you wanted to say?
Essentially, I think what we should basically just at this point, at the very end here, let's go with like some of our best and worst moments. So one of my worst moments would be the jumping puzzle, because fuck the jumping puzzles in all these games. From the very first Vault, the glass one, to the end at Oryx, where you had like to jump straight up a tower, like a rock pillar,
Yeah.
and get to the top. That really, like, that's when Jeff told me you didn't have to, you can press X and stop jumping. I'm like, oh, okay then. Or this clip I'll insert here where we're jumping off the ships. Same idea. I had no clue where I was going. I'm like, why is there always jumping in a game about shooting? But that's one of my worst ones.
Worst ones. See, that's a tough thing. I'd say one of the most frustrating things.
Is it the no mic situation?
Oh, we should tell this story. Yeah, we should tell this story before we go. All right. So what? It was this one?
I think it was this one.
Yeah. So we were doing this raid that's being played right now, but with a different team and whatever.
The final room, I think, is where it just hit the
wall. We played with this other player. I think Joe's played with her a few times. I may have played with her once, but she never spoke a word. Whatever. She was just quiet and whatever. So it got to the point where we kept dying over and over and over, and it was getting extremely frustrating. And not even just for me. You could tell Joe was getting frustrated. The other party members were getting frustrated. So I think it was me who in the group chat was just like, hey, do you have a mic? And like I think it was the text kind of deal, because I didn't know if she was listening, but like it came across as pretty dickish. Like it came across as actually being a fucking dick, and it turns out that this chick was actually mute.
Yeah. It's like, I think someone asked like, are you mute or something? And then she's like, yes I am, like through the message system. We're all like,
and I felt like such a piece of shit. Like, yeah, I'm already a piece of shit, but fuck, man, like I actually felt really bad because it was just, this chick's actually mute, she's playing with us, and I was just an asshole about it. But whatever. No, but that wasn't what I was gonna mention. I think it was which in turn kind of turned out to be one of the best parts was, or best memories of Destiny, was going through Vault of Glass the very first time, because
I was so underprepared for that,
because we basically went in blind. And nowadays, like, me and the clan always go into most of the raids blind first, and then when it's challenge mode, we always find out when we always find out what changed.
The strategy.
Yeah, the strategy is. But initially, we always go in blind because it's more fun. But the first time going through Vault of Glass took us close to 6 hours, and we still did not.
We got up to Atheon, but that was as far as we got.
Yeah.
At least the first time we tried to do it like straight.
Yeah. Eventually we did it, which was fucking one of the most religious things I've ever felt in my life. Like,
and for some reason, always the last time we have to damage Atheon, I always seem to die like right at the end. And then I'm just the ball of light and everyone's dancing. I'm like, but you can't revive myself for some reason at that point. Every time we've done that and we beat it, I seem to die at the end. But yeah, it was pretty good. Like the damage, we were putting on the damage just fine. Like we had it down to a system. I mean, I was not a fan that they changed it to randomly teleport people versus like the expected 3 at the front. But I guess that was to
no, I prefer that, because at the end of the day, as raiders, we have to learn all the roles. You can't just know one role and be like, you know what, I'm not gonna do it because I don't know. Like, no, you gotta fucking learn. It's not that hard.
It's more comfortability than learn, I think.
The game is just shooting things. Like, it's not that fucking
and jumping.
Okay, what's your best memory?
My best, I think a lot of us are gonna say this though, is the Golgoroth fight. That was fucking intense. Watching that video, I will add the video here, by the way, whenever I edit this. But when we got into that and we knew about the enraged timer, so for those of you who are not in the know, once at a certain point, there's like a, what was that in the back, like a tower, like has like a countdown or something that'll tell you when he's about to go into rage mode. Rage mode, pretty much the shit's about to hit the fan. You have like a certain amount of time to kill the boss, otherwise it's an automatic wipe. Yeah. In this case, the screen starts blurring, going black from the side, start like darkening the screen till it's completely covered in darkness. So the boss literally had a sliver of health as the enrage mode comes in. The darkness starts crawling on our screens, and then you're not going to hear it because we didn't turn on our mics at the time, but all I hear is Anton's just like, let loose with whatever you have. So like from the angle you'll see in the video, like everyone's just shooting wherever they had, And then like at one point I remember the whole setup because I had to watch it like how did we kill this guy? But we had shot the wrong orb on the
Yeah.
top that gives you the buff because he turned around after we shot it. So we tried to get around him to get into another pool, but we couldn't do it. So we just started shooting with there, and we're just doing like throwing pebbles at this guy because we don't have the buff. And then as the screen's going dark, my super's up, so I'm just throwing hammers like it's hammer time, but it's honestly doing nothing to this guy. And then he starts turning around, so I'm like, oh, I gotta make my way around too. So I start slowly going around, and I'm shooting my gun, and it's like running out of ammo. I switch to the sniper. It's out of bullets. I switch back to my heavy. Nothing's in there. But what I didn't realize was I had the gun that had cocoon, whereas if it's stowed away for a while, it'll reload my sniper rifle. So after like a few switches, I flip back to the sniper rifle, and then I shoot him in the stomach like a couple times, and then it adds on to the damage everyone else is doing, and it kills him. What I didn't, and I noticed it did a big number, and what I didn't realize was in my effort to spin around the enemy, I landed in that very first pool that we accidentally shot down. Not just me though, I saw another person's video, but Liz as well had jumped into the same pool, and we both had shot without realizing we were in the pool. It was great. It's a great moment. And then we literally killed him just as the screen goes black. He's dead, and we're all cheering. You can see me like punch him in the face, even though he's dead already. I'm like,
Yeah, mind you, this is at like 2, 3 in the morning. Like,
Yeah.
we're yelling at the top of our fucking lungs that we like, because at that point, I think we spent close to like 3 hours on just Golgoroth alone.
yeah.
Like, it was a while until we actually, luckily, ended up getting it. And like, I will say, like, that was one of my favorite moments too, because it's that heart-pounding moment when the screen's starting to go black, everyone's freaking out, and rage timer's already been set off, everyone's out of ammo, no one has a buff, and people are just freaking out. Like, it was good. But I think one of my all-time favorite moments was so that and doing Trials of Osiris, getting a flawless run the very first time I ever did it. We got it first week though, and that was when all the tryhards showed the fuck up, right? Everyone's like, I'm the best at PvP, so I'm gonna do it. But it's like it's that moment when it's like I'm never gonna say, like, as much as I joke about it and I'm just like I'm the greatest PvP player ever, like I'm not. Like, I'm just a fucking shit talker with a loud mouth, you know. But at the end of all of this, it was just kind of that moment where we finally hit 9 wins. We did it. We went flawless. And then that reward at the very end is you get to go to the exclusive social space that less than 5% of Destiny players have ever seen. And it was that final relief where I've just sat there for fucking 5 hours with 2 of my buddies, and I've only pissed once with a fucking bunch of like Coca-Cola cans around me, in turn growing a beard because I've been here for so long, and have finally gotten to fucking the flawless area. Like, again, there's so many stories that you can tell from this game where it's like the first time we did this, or the time we did this, blah blah blah.
Or that time I actually landed my striker's strike on the tank and killed it.
Or that time I saw Joe do the jumping puzzle for more than an hour because he fucking sucks at jumping. Like,
yeah.
It's just Destiny 1, and I guess by proxy, just because like Destiny 2, there's a lot of stories that come out of it. But I guess my final like conclusion of all this is that it really feels like Destiny 2 was a massive step back from the progress they finally made when it came to Taken King. There was a lot of changes they made that the game really and truly needed, and now we're just playing kind of a shell of its former glory.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and it's kind of sad. Like, once again, Destiny 1, we didn't know any better at that point. That's why we put in that much time. But now that we've gone through Dark Below, we've gone through Taken King, fucking Iron
Banana? No.
Yeah, I don't know, Iron Chains or whatever the fuck. Like, at the end of the day, like, we know better. We know what we should be expecting. And I will say, as gamers, like, now this is just kind of like, you know, one of those like observations of gamers, but at the end of the day, as gamers, we expect too much from developers. But I think in this case, we are justified in our expectation.
Because we're just expecting kind of what they did before. Like the improvements they made before, how come they didn't carry it over the idea.
Yeah, like, I will say, like, gamers are pieces of shit. Like,
we are.
We,
Yes, we are.
we are pieces of shits. We expect too much. We are entitled fucks.
Yes, we are.
But at the end of the day, there is a standard, there is a precedent that has been set by Destiny 1, and in turn, it's fucking DLC, and it's
Right?
yeah, and we aren't there. Oh my god, watching this is so fucking frustrating.
Yep, this is me jumping. Look at that jump.
You suck. Yeah, what do you got, Joe?
Okay, so I guess I can't really add to it, but like, yeah, there's I felt like with the DLCs they did do their best work. They learned what they made a mistake in the main game and they fixed it. So you thought like going forward they would do the same, and at least in Destiny 1 they did. Cinematics were on point, story was on point. It was self-contained, but the story was on point. New upgrade systems, like old upgrade systems, were discarded in favor of the new one. They gave people the ability to skip levels, so they can just go straight to the content they want to do with a new class or whatever. Destiny 2, by the way, that's another thing Destiny 2 doesn't do. Doesn't give you an item that lets you like skip past it if you've already done it. I mean, you could theoretically just level up on public events and then grab your armor or whatever, but
Yeah.
the idea is that there's a lot of progress and a lot of like de-evolution in terms of their gameplay and mechanics. That being said, though, like the first game, they do have time to correct it, and most likely they will. But as it stands right now, this is how we feel on the subject.
Yeah. Just with like a note, just to say before going, I do know that there are two separate teams when it comes to Destiny. There is the initial team that is for launch, so the launch team, and then there's the live team that keeps the game going after the fact.
Yeah.
After Vanilla Destiny and the like Dark Below showing up, live team did take over, and that's when we started getting good changes and stuff like that. Officially, right now, I know a few weeks back, it was announced that the live team has officially taken over for Destiny 2. So now the hopes are that we are gonna get the game that we've been waiting for.
We are the chosen ones.
It's just, hopefully it doesn't take fucking 3 DLCs to get there. Please and thank you, live team. I would appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, while we're here, Liz, would you like to jump in with your best and worst moments of Destiny, and I'll edit it in the beginning when we were talking about it. She has stuff to add.
She has stuff to add. I'll answer for her. It's Golgoroth. Golgoroth is the best moment from Liz's.
And probably the worst was her attempt at the vaulted glass jumping puzzle, which I actually have a video of somewhere in here. That's great.
Anyways, I guess that's it for me. I am Anton Mac. Follow me on my socials. That's OMG. It's Anton, OMGITSANTON on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
And Twitch.
Also, I am a hunter main. I like short walks on the beach and long dinners at McDonald's.
And this is Joe Inferno from Joe the challenge is on. And I don't really have much of the other socials or ones I'd like to share anyways. So just follow me here if you're already following me. If you're just stumbling on this, hey, subscribe. I got some Let's Plays. Check them out. And I don't remember what he said. I had something for it. I can't remember. Bye.
Like, comment, and subscribe. Smash the like button.